If you are part of any online music community, whether that be on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, you've probably come across something like this. This song, but the beat is from this song, or this artist plus this artist. Something similar to that, a combination of two songs or two artists that a fan thought of and brought to life, otherwise known as mashups. If you're a fan of any artist, I'm sure you've listened to a song of theirs and wondered what it would sound like if the beat had been switched, if another artist was featured on that song. All these different kind of possibilities running through your head. But thankfully with a computer or a smartphone and the tiniest bit of knowledge about how audio interfaces work, you can create your own mashup, and that's what people have been doing a lot recently. I became a big fan of mashup because I was a nerd and I love to watch mashups of video game music, specifically by people like Silva Gunna, but if I had seen anything in my YouTube recommended, I was gonna watch it. Which personally for me built my love for these kind of infinite possibilities people create with music. But recently online there's been some discourse whether this whole mashup thing is getting too saturated, whether it should even be a thing or not, whether it's a valid form of art. So what I want to do in this video is talk about that for a little bit and then share some people that I think have been doing so well in this whole mashup scene. Because if you don't know, my name is Henry, I love music. This is where I talk about it, this is kind of what I do. If you like music commentary videos like this one, feel free to subscribe. I upload one every week, or at least I try to. And I upload a bunch of different stuff ranging from commentary to artist interviews to album reactions, all the fun stuff like that. So drop a subscribe and let's keep talking about mashups. Now it's very easy when you think of mashups to think that this is a new thing, that it's only been happening for a few years, but this thing dates back a while. The first credited mashup actually belongs to Harry Nilsson, which was in his 1967 album Pandemonium Shadowbox. The album features a cover of the song You Can't Do That by the Beatles, but in this cover he mashes up multiple vocal recreations of a ton of different Beatles songs into this one cover. The reason he did this was because he was playing the chords for this song on his guitar and he realized how many Beatles songs that this chord structure could be applied to. And while this is technically the earliest credited mashup, this is very different from the style of mashups that we see today. Instead of outright combining two different tracks, Nilsson re-recorded different parts of Beatles songs and then mashed them together. So in a nutshell, he just did a lot more work, but at that time, the technology we have wasn't available to him. Now the earliest kind of mashup I could find that was similar to what we are seeing now was a 1991 track called You Got the Love, which was released by The Source featuring Candy Staton. Now while the song was released in 1991, it had actually been created 2 years earlier by DJ Aaron Abdullah, which featured the instrumental from the track Your Love by Frankie Knuckles and Jamie Principle, with Staton's vocals overlaid on top of it. It had been an underground hit since it released, and to my knowledge, this is the first time a mashup of this kind of caliber was released into the mainstream. A true mashup of an instrumental from one song and the vocals from another song. Now as we get into the 2000s, the mashup style became insanely popular, with mainstream artists like Jay-Z and Linkin Park teaming up to create songs like Numb/Encore. It was a true landmark in music history, with artists from completely different genres joining forces, combining their genres and creative visions, and releasing music for everyone to enjoy. It's like the fusion dance from Dragon Ball, when two people realize they can't beat the most powerful person, they fuse together and team up, and then it usually works, unless they turn into like a really fat guy or like the skinny guy. I don't know. I haven't watched the movie in a while. Now mashups released by mainstream artists are great. It shows they're truly tapping into their creative vision and giving the fans what they want, a mix of all different genres. But what that causes is mashups to be limited only to what the artists want. But if that was the only kind of mashup that existed, it would cause the only mashups we heard to be what the artist gave us. And soon enough, fans started taking it into their own hands. Hello, this is Henry from the future. I know, I forgot something. It's very on brand. One thing I forgot to mention in this video is live/bedroom/DJ mashups. These are the videos you've been seeing online of people either sitting in their bedroom, maybe sitting outside next to a turntable, and mashing up two popular songs. I feel like right now this is the most popular form of mashup content, popularized by people like Cheo. And while I'm not going to go into depth, it is something that I wanted to talk about and I forgot to mention in there, and I was going to talk about it a little bit more, but it's late right before I edit this, so this is all you get. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the trend of people putting someone's vocals on someone else's track has become insanely popular, especially with the new mainstream hip-hop releases. Whenever GNX by Kendrick Lamar released, I cannot tell you how many mashups I saw literally within the first week of it being out. Which brings me to probably the part of the video I'm most excited for, the people who have been contributing to this the most. And I think this is super cool because it's getting people excited about music production. It's getting them to learn all the ins and outs of it. Which brings me to probably my favorite part of this video, the people who have been contributing to this the most. So first, let's talk about Blaccmass. I hope I'm saying that right. I low-key don't know. If you are a fan of mashups, there is a 99.99999 so on and so forth chance you have heard a Blaccmass mix. He has a Yeet and Mariah Carey mix on YouTube that has like 5 million plus views, as well as a very popular Kendrick Lamar and Mary J. Blige mix. And on top of that, he even makes his own beats and puts vocals over that, including him making beats for the entirety of Music by Playboi Carti. I'm not joking, if you go on YouTube, he made a beat for every single song on Music. It's insane. A lot of what I've seen from Blaccmass recently has been vocals over different soul and hip-hop beats, but the influence that this man has provided is undeniable. I genuinely believe that like 99% of the people that make these kind of mashups now have been influenced by Blaccmass in one way or another. It is crazy. And on top of that, he was at the Pop Out concert, like the one where Kendrick Lamar invited all of his friends to dance on stage with him, which is where he took this photo, one of the most notable pictures that came out of that event. Undeniably one of the most influential people in this space, and all of the flowers in the world deserve to go to him. But I have one more I want to talk about. Spectre. Spectre? I'm gonna say Spectre, I apologize if it's wrong. Now Spectre originally got popular because he would recreate albums with just his voice. Like all the beats, all the instrumentals, all the vocals would just be made using his own voice. The entire album, which is insane in its own right, but then he started doing mashups that became insanely popular. Similar to Blaccmass, a lot of what he creates is in the hip-hop and rap space, but he does venture out a little bit more. One of his most popular mashups is a Kendrick Lamar and Sabrina Carpenter mashup, and he also combined the songs Modern Jam by Travis Scott and Nokia by Drake, and that remix got so popular that Travis Scott performed that version at Coachella. If you don't believe me, he has the Coachella mix on YouTube. You can go listen to it right now. Both kind of things he does and creates is very crazy, and he deserves all of the credit in the world. But as this mashup scene became more and more popular, people started to question whether this was a good thing or not, whether the market was becoming too saturated, and whether these were valid at all. And I want to defend my mashup creators for a little bit because I truly think that this is an overall good thing for music. I think one of the main things people talk about when they're disagreeing with mashups is similar to plagiarism, like combining two people's songs to create a mashup and then uploading it and gaining money off of it or passing it off as your own, something like that. And what I'll say to that is I don't think a majority of these mashups are generating any revenue. On YouTube, you'll get copywritten pretty much instantly for uploading any kind of mainstream artist's music, whether it's a mashup or just a straight rip of the song. So when people make mashups like this, they're pretty much copywritten instantly and there is no ability to generate revenue. I can't speak for other platforms like Twitter and Instagram, but I know YouTube, which is the main revenue generator for most things like this, is kind of completely off limits. And I think the second thing that people bring up when they're kind of fighting against mashups is that it's just like stealing. It's stealing people's art. And again, similar to what I was saying earlier, these things get copywritten very quickly, but also they get credited all the time, like instantly. That may be kind of an on-the-nose thing to say, but you can't really pass off someone else's voice and someone else's beat as your own like original work. Yes, the mashup you created is original, but like you didn't make either of these things unless the beat was your own. This is another form of art. It's another form of expression. It's another way to show that you are a fan of all these different artists. And the last thing that I've seen people saying is that the mashup market is oversaturated. And while I can kind of get behind that, I don't really care, if that makes sense. Yes, this mashup trend has blown up within the past few years, and we are seeing so many different kinds of mashups. But if they're good, there's not really a reason to not want that. Now maybe if you see people putting Youngboy on Fiend like 5 different times on your timeline, that's a valid criticism. But from what I've seen, a majority of these mashup creators are very original and they don't copy like anybody. Except for big brands. Big brands love to post people's mashups with like 0 credit. I've seen it all the time. But I don't think oversaturation is a bad thing. If anything, I think that it's getting more people into music production, which by proxy gets people to create their own music, which will lead to like a whole new generation of music producers. This is definitely one way to get people excited about production, but if it does the job, it does the job. I also can't say that I haven't bitten into the music mashups trend. When I first started this channel, I had a passion project called Broly Boost remixes. I just remembered the name. And I had, I think, 3 videos that I uploaded on that channel before I like completely forgot about it. I know one of them is a Leak Tyler verse on a Mike beat. I know one of them is a Freddie Gibbs verse on a Tony Seltzer beat. And I think the last one was a Mavi verse on a Freddie Gibbs song. I haven't looked at it in like half a year, so I'm just remembering off the top of my head. But if you want to check it out, Broly Boost remixes, maybe I'll go back there. But anyways, I think that's all I have to say about mashups. I think that it's an overall good thing for music. I think the history speaks for itself. And I think that it's fun. That is going to do it today. I want to say thank you guys for the success of the last video. I'd kind of been in a slump of like none of my videos hitting like I thought they would. And so this video getting 1,000 views meant a lot to me, especially on my birthday. Like I said earlier, if you guys enjoyed this kind of content or any of the other content that I mentioned that I make, feel free to subscribe. We're literally so close to 1,000. I also have big things planned for the month of June that I am not allowed to discuss right now, but just know that cool things are coming. But anyways, I think that's gonna do it. So, see you later. Goodbye.